sinks in the waters by Capri. Oh, no, no, those holiday cruises back in Hitler's time were really something. You could eat butter by the spoonful, and much more, on trips called Strength Through Joy. A working man could sail to Norway's fjords and get back for 7 marks a day. Germany was vast. It stretched from western France to eastern Poland. Now it doesn't even get as far as Brandenburg. My pension keeps me going. That and beer. Lots of scoundrels on the streets these days. They say they're out of work. I say they're work shy. Where there's a will. As Hitler said, Arbeit macht frei. I earned some pocket money on the side by dressing up as a Turkish Tsar. You do what you can.
There she stood, rooted to the spot, too frightened and too horrified to move, but they had already heated up the iron slippers over a coal fire, and when they brought them in with tongs and put them down on the ground beside her, she had to step into the red-hot shoes, dance until she dropped down dead.
There was one thing my mother could do better than anybody else. Morning, noon and night, she'd just sit there, quietly, making brown paper bags. 10,000 of them a day. And in return for this staggering feat, she was rewarded with the princely sum of 2 marks. That's 20 pfennigs 1,000. A doctor who shouts, "I can't give you any treatment for that," when he sees a blister on my heel. "Serve you right for running barefoot through wet grass." The cobbler who laughs when he sees a thin piece of leather my mother's brought, expecting he could make a new sole for my worn-out old shoe with it. lecture master, who's so afraid of scabies he rubs alcohol into his pupils' hands every morning. Phrases like fucking bonkers, or what a fucking fuck up, or there's spunk all over my hand. Sentences like, I can slave till I drop for all you care. Or, straighten that tablecloth or the bogeyman will get ya. Or, these things happen in the best of families. The word Helvetia on a postage stamp. Saying it out loud. Really slow. Really making a meal of it. Helvetia. A farmer's son, who'll hand his sister over to the other lads if they do his work for him, or he sits by the pond and plays with his penknife. Looking for work is fucking hard work. A beer, a schnapps, both feet in a bowl. Your bum gets bigger and bigger all the time from all that sitting in all those corridors. The same old questions and the same old lies. She was all alone in all that ice and snow. My first man was a volunteer from Saxony, a chronic drunk and brilliant with it. He ran from hole to hole and over bodies dead and dying and used me as a dugout on the way. My second fellow was my big romance. We loved each other madly, as they say, but he got drowned before the wedding. I really was unlucky with my men. By 19, I was married. My father says to me, well, you could wave goodbye to youth and innocence and all that's special and unique. My marriage lasted 1 year, 7 months and 12 days. My husband was a crane operator with Nagel and Sons. He wasn't a bad sort, and he did have a job. I heard about that before I knew his name. I did find out his name later, though, but what I didn't know was that the sciatica that had been bothering him for years was cancer. We got to know each other in this mountain restaurant. He drank beer, I drank Weisswein mit Schuss. Took me back to his room. His chair was his wardrobe, right, so I had to sit on the bed. He kneeled at my feet and unbuttoned my blouse. So, this is what paradise is like, I thought, and I said, I love you. There's no need to overdo it, he said, but I said it again, I love you. When he'd finished, he said, tits too tiny, arse too tight, you look to me like fucking Snow White. I had to laugh. Then he tried to write Snow White on my wet belly. His finger was all yellow from too much smoking. Even now, whenever I hear anybody say Snow White, I come over all peculiar. But we wasn't to be happy for long, so as not to lose his job. Max kept on going to work day after day, illness or no illness. Hardly ever bothered to see the doctor. A sodding sciatica was making his life hell. His hand, now boneless, manages once again to operate the gear stick and controls. Unwrap his bread and dripping, lift a cup, pull his cap down over his face to hide his yellow cheeks, and undo his shirt to give that sweat-soaked body a breath of air. But Daddy Cancer sends his daughters on a rampage and feeds them Max's last remaining bones and joints and veins. So now, from sleep to sleep, from one day's work to another, with only his braces holding him together, he drags the half-eaten shell his body has become. A ray of hope lights up the gloom. His hand can raise a glass and stroke his wife's behind. But soon his hands go, his legs, and then his head and belly. His body starts to shrivel up. Snow White acquires a dwarf. At work, the man Max had most contact with was called Irving. His trousers always had this razor-sharp crease down the middle, and his nickname was the best-dressed man in Mecklenburg. So, when I made up my mind that come what may, I would take over my husband's job as crane operator with Nagel and Sons, it was Irving who was the one I was most afraid might recognise me. So I cut off my hair, altered my husband's clothes, and then, to get me through the first few days, I pretended I'd fallen downstairs. I hoped that by wrapping my head in bandages, right, by wearing a sort of disguise, if you like, my colleagues might gradually get used to the new face of Max Gorica. It was risky, but I had no choice. I think I must have started planning it before my husband died, because without knowing why, much to his amazement, I managed to get him to explain how everything in the control cabin worked and to describe it right down to the last detail. Against all expectations, I was able to carry out my plan quite easily. Mainly because while he worked up there in the control cabin, my late lamented husband hardly ever spoke to any of his colleagues, except for the best-dressed man in Mecklenburg, who'd scurry up the ladder every now and again to get away from a sticky situation down below. Yeah, well, beggars can't be choosers. And apart from the odd miner cock-up manoeuvring crates around, which my colleagues put down to the effects of the accident, I did bloody well. Unfortunately, as a result of these extraordinary events, my dear departed husband ended up with a cut-price funeral in a provincial town with his widow's name carved on the gravestone. Here lies Herr Gorica, born in Frankfurt an der Oder, died of cancer, R.I.P. Jesus Christ, the nerve of the woman. And on the third day, he rose again from the dead. I had to rise the next day at 5 a.m. I, my own widow, my late lamented husband, had to be man enough to wear the fucking trousers. Why was being a woman not enough? The church I could avoid, but not a boozer. Can't you play scat? No. Fucking arsehole. You come with us tonight, we'll soon show you how. A table, French deck of cards, a beer. That was the beginning and possibly the end. You can't score, show your hand. A 10 on its own. One bloke's already shuffled off his mortal coil. A spade, call it a spade. A club, I've joined it. Put your cards on the table, Max. A queen! Faint heart never won fair lady. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. My head is spinning. And beer and schnapps all churned up together, and schnapps and beer will fill them up again. A man's gut doesn't easily call it a day. Beer, woman! Here, woman! Beer, beer, beer! And with the next round, they order pickled leg of pork with onions, peas and mustard on the side. No pork? What's up? Not kosher? Bet you're circumcised. Bet you're not called Max Gorica at all, but Nathan Rosenberg. And two fine specimens of German manhood rise tottering to their feet. Eat or die. Beside me, beer and schnapps is fighting schnapps and beer. Eat or die. It's good enough for us. I'm seeing pinky red flags flying over the North Pole. Then I see nothing. Then I see it all. There stands my mother with her book of fairy tales. A mountain of porridge. Porridge turns to pork. Eat or die. Your last chance. I'll chew. I'll swallow. It won't go down. Eat or die. Show us what you got. I'll go on eating. Or is it eating me? Am I the pig? Is pork the thing to be? Eat or die. Now only bones are left. So beautifully bare. Picked so clean. So white. So naked. So wonderfully stripped. I wave the bones in triumph once I've done. And bawl out. Ich bin ein deutscher Mann!
I melt the frost flowers at the kitchen window with my breath. Out in a yard, a violent battle starts. The battle lines confront each other grimly, their weapons ready in their freezing hands. They pit a hammer and sickle in the snow, and not to be outdone, the next door kids squeeze out their last remaining drops and draw a line of swastikas in a row. Looking at my belly, I felt sick. Desperately longing to have a child. A pillow down your trousers? Hey, presto! Pregnant! It hurts! It punches! It bounces and it tugs! My peace is gone! My heart is sore! Oh, this fullness, so wonderful, so terrifying. It's gone forever, yes, evermore. It's choking me. I'm being torn apart. I'm bursting. It must come out. It doesn't want to, but it must. Oh, this emptiness, so wonderful, so terrifying. A beer and sod the rest. It cries. It is alive. It's got 10 fingers, 2 eyes, a nose, and a cock. Come here to my bosom, boy, and drink. Now you're getting bigger and bigger. First words, car and ball. First steps, where you off to then? Straight for the boozer. What are you going to be then? A sailor? An explorer? A boxer? You make something of your life, my son. Too late for me. Too soon for you. Come here, pillow. Here, between my thighs. You're more good there than in my belly. Then came the time of battles and of riots. The jungle was a safer place than Prussia. We can get used to anything in time. As my old dad said, even good news. As many meetings as grains of sand on the shore. The stink of sweat. The air so solid you could cut it into cubes. No sooner has the magic word been uttered. Socialism. The doors fly open. Shouts, clubs,
The crowd first sways to one side, then the other. Tables, mirrors, windows, chairs, used as weapons and missiles. Oppressors and oppressed, hit out at, kick, and fasten teeth and claws on one another. Where is the end and where is the beginning? It's like a snake that swallowed its own tail. Some idiot grabs me in the groin. He yanks, he squeezes, pulls. Can't believe his groping hand has no effect. Chairs all legless, all the windows smashed. Table legs are clubs, bits of glass and knives. Blood washes the smoke-stained walls. And women jump out the windows screaming, me included. 30 women and one man. I wasn't pro-rope front nor Z-Cole neither. More like somewhere in between, pro number one. My job, my own concerns. A beer, a schnapps and bugger all the rest. But one fine day it dawns on me, a vote for Hitler is a vote for war. And war's bad news for me. Well, armies need soldiers. That night, I have this terrifying dream. This long table with a doctor and these other men. Yours truly at his medical. A dozen pairs of eyelids staring at me. I feel as if they want to rip away my face and peer inside. The doctor tilts his head, looks down, keeps staring at my fly. Then, with a disgusting half-bent finger, fumbles with my clothing. He undoes button after button, slowly pulling my shirt tail out. His finger creeps down inside my trousers. He fiddles about. Then, still in my dream, he suddenly pulls out this rabbit. One foot is missing. The stump all bloody. Then, still in my dream, this animal gets bigger and bigger. It's like an elephant. And still it keeps on growing. It's like a tree. A hill. The sea. Then, still in my dream, pitch blackness everywhere. This womb which I'm inside. This terrifying silence rumbling in my ears. Then I wake up. The nightmare's just beginning. Hitler's got in.
I dread that time between the wolf's howl and the barking of a dog. Between the darkest night and the faintest glimmering of dawn. Too tired to sleep. Too drowsy to wake up. Your mind incapable of dream or thought. Your weary body helpless. Your head like lead. My last remaining hope is under my mattress. A small rectangular piece of card, carefully hidden from all strangers' eyes. My passport. Or, to be exact, my widow's. My plan is, if I'm called up, if I'm summoned to a medical, I slip back into her skin, take off my suit, unknot my tie, and take refuge in her blouse and skirt. What's to become of him? The man I am. And me. The woman I want to be. I think myself back. And I think myself forward. Who? Where? When? How come I get like this? Where from? Going where? Your head is spinning. Frau Müller from next door's already up. With 7 mouths all crying out for food. What massive cooking pot she must have. The clock strikes 5. It's time to wear the trousers.
Still needed here to keep the home fires burning. But for how much longer can I avoid the front? We men are getting scarcer all the time. Nargland sons are taking women now. The scroungers off the streets are ordered to report for duty in the forest, building autobahns for the glorious Reich, while many others vanish, never to be seen again. And with them goes the best-dressed man in Mecklenburg. As they lead him from the site, I hear them say, "Thank God your badge is pink, sweetheart, not red. You queers are only sent to concentration camps."
Pooption, they all called her. The new canteen lady, I mean. Potion, du bist mein Potion. The lads would have gladly queued up to spend their last pfennig on her. Oh, and there's no two ways about it. She really was a corker. But what puzzled me was this. How come I always got a much bigger helping than everybody else? Why did I always get a second portion of stewed fruit? After work, why did she always hang about the side gate waiting for me to walk her home? And when we got to her door, why did she always kiss me goodnight?
In that case, you must be the prince.
Was all she said when I told her I already had a girl. Snow White. White as snow, red as blood, black as ebony. But I wasn't the prince. In fact, I wasn't even the crane operator, Max Garicka. Or was I? Or what? Suddenly I got the same pain I'd felt years before when they fished my fiancé out of Harville, white as snow. And then before that, yeah, much, much earlier, when the baker's son, who I worshipped, had to leave our town and go and live in a town somewhere else. Yeah, that was the first time when I knew I'd never see him again. That I felt this indescribable emptiness inside. This pain right in the belly. It's not like to tell you, it's not in your heart. It's much further down, it's right in your guts. And here it was again. I broke away from her. I ran all the way home. On the pavement outside my house, some kids were playing the thin black lines of death and the big soft slabs of God. I climbed the stairs. More kids.
We've got 2 dogs, says one of them, a poodle and a knife grinder. Well, what kind of animal's a knife grinder? I've never heard of it. Oh, lots of animals are called knife grinder.
Anyway, I go into my room, forgetting to close the front door, to sit down in my chair and stare at the wall. Potion, du bist mein Potion. God, it's great to be one of your chosen ones. But I'm a knife grinder. In walks the thin black line of death.
Your door was open here, Girica. Is anything the matter? You look a bit...
Everything's fine. I'm a knife grinder. The thin black line of death goes out, shutting the door behind him. Everything's fine, I shout after him. I'm a knife grinder! God, this pain in my guts. And I'm a knife grinder. Why am I a knife grinder?
Barking with fury in his husky voice, block custodian volunteers and runs from door to door. He's distinctly heard the of the illegal BBC transmitter. A tip-off indicates the upper story. I'm in the clear, I haven't got a radio. Still the block custodian searches everywhere. Opens the wardrobes, taps on the walls, and suddenly there he is. Thus the traitor, by himself betrayed, is discovered, drumming out his treasonable transmissions on the wall of his hutch. It's Egon the rabbit. First, a sauce of extra meat, then an extra mouth to feed. Now, a sauce of treasonable transmissions. The block custodian is beside himself, and all the neighbours crying out for blood. No matter how I cried, it didn't help. They lined him up against his hutch and shot him. Night falls. There's a knock on my door.
I love you, and I've come to tell you, Max.
Come in then, Pooption. Take a seat, relax.
My darling Max, I'm dead unless you help me.
Oh, come on, Pooption. Germany is full of men, and my Snow White's the one who fits my bill. I love her big round bum and bouncing tits. And now my Pooption ought to go to bed.
But Max, I don't know where to lay my head. It isn't easy to explain. Tonight a lot of people will be slain. I've got involved in politics, you see, and now I cannot, and I won't break free. It's hard to know just how much to say. I've been on the run since yesterday. They're after me. You see, I am a red, and if they find me, soon I will be dead.
I said, under my mattress there, stashed away, I've something for you. I gave it her. We kissed. And she went on her way.
This was the cell. Grey walls, a cement floor, concrete coffin in fact. A plank hinged to the wall in the up position. At night this plank becomes a bed. 90 centimetres wide, 1 metre 70 long, fixed on a slant and with no raised area for the head. This plank's all you've got to sleep on. No mattress, no pillow, no blanket. For a pillow, you use your shoes. Now, when the plank's in the up position, where do you sit? There isn't even a stool. The plank stays up all day. So you've got to stay standing. Dawn to dusk. On your feet the whole day. The only thing you can do found sitting on the floor will be severely punished. So you've no choice but to stay on your feet. Dawn to dusk. But if you stand for too long, you get portrait on the knee. So the only thing you can do is to keep walking. Walk, 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 walk. 4 steps to the window. 4 steps to the door. 4 steps to the window. 4 steps to the door. Window. Door. At 5 a.m. every morning, the SA man shouts out,
Flag up!
and the same endless day starts all over again and goes on till about 9 at night, when the SA man comes in again and a snaps for snaps. You've heard it all now. SA man Garicka was a frau. Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. How else could I avoid the medical? Then came May, 1945.
Who in this appalling carnage can contain these Russians? Who will protect us from this world of enemies?
Our last reserves of children and old men stood manfully at the ready in the woods of Brandenburg, while I, like a pig in shit, stayed put, fighting on my favourite front, a castle in the marches, guarding supplies with 3 other gentlemen who were destined never to reach the front. Crammed to the brim with uniforms, with hypodermics, bandages and crutches, all created to bury the fallen of both armies. For me, the sheer size of the castle was a blessing. A room to myself gave me protection. Even so, I trained myself to sleep face down. When I looked out my window, I saw no corpses, no tanks, no craters. What I saw were stags, just browsing by a pond on which some bright-coloured drakes were swimming, their grey ducks trailing after. Am I awake or dreaming? Am I alive and conscious? Here, no murderous hail of bullets flies towards me. Here, amongst these hills and bushes, we, our little band of German brothers, are still protected from this world of enemies. Like a vast tide of slaughter, bullets, grenades and grape shots swept towards us. As for my mates, they sunned themselves by the pond, fringed with weeping willows. They showed each other their cocks and jerked off. I can't swim, can't stand the sun, I just watched. What's up? Can't find your cock? Show us then. Come on, trousers down, you fucking coward. I buckered off. They followed me. I fell, stumbled, ran on. I had to make the village. They hid their pricks with their hands and retreated, laughing, "You'll be back. Stay standing at your post till further orders." There was I leaning against a tree. My God, I had none to stand at, and the whole of Poland open wide. "What's to be done?" cried Zeus. "The gods are drunk." In the Neustadt cabaret show, a dancer called Fred, who's lanky and slow, delights and regales the admiring females with a pull of a hair he's put you know where. I saw myself as a hunter stalking deer. And if a man who's drowning clutches at a straw, the one I was stuck with was a bent hare's paw. But soon the Russians made my problems vanish. Artillery salvos pulverised my naked comrades in the sands of Brandenburg. As Russian tanks got nearer, off I ran. Westwards, to reach the Elbe was my plan. But suddenly my way is barred by 2 SS men standing guard. "Halt, deserter. Where are you trying to go?" "I'm only wearing his uniform for show. Goebbels drove me to it, in fact. Dressed as a woman, I might be attacked. The Russians rape you first, then chop your breasts off. That's what I'm trying to stop."
Come on in, Garrad. Show us your tits.
And off, we'll teach you how a German rider sits in your saddle. This is how it's done. So, once in that war, I got to use my gun. And it never rains but it pours. When I was 7, my father left his job in a provincial town and moved to Berlin to work for Borsig. The plan was that we'd join him as soon as he found somewhere to live in and got settled in. When he came to visit us one day, riding on a mail train, which was very expensive, he was so horrified by the way my mother looked that he sent for the doctor, which was also expensive. When the doctor had finished, he took my father to one side and told him he'd leave a prescription and would call back in a day or two to see if there was anything could be done. But it was too late, and in no time at all my mother had died of a galloping consumption. It was a hard winter, and outside the ground was icy. My father slips over and sprains his right hand, so at the age of 7, I was lumbered with all the housework. But the first thing I had to do was to wash my mother's body and put the lace nightcap on her head. Everyone who came to the house sang my praises and told me what a good girl I was, and nobody knew how horrified I was by the fact of death.
Schöner Prinz, kam ein junger, schöner Prinz, schöner Prinz.
In the Emsland, they don't need girls but lads. There's too few men to work the land. You've been one for so long, why not a few weeks longer? Why not stay a man in this Sodom and Gomorrah? And, to be on the safe side, find another poor little rabbit's foot. The citizens, right, took all their goods to the peasants. Their sheets and their pillows and their carpets, to swap them for a pound of butter or a few potatoes. And Schnaps exchanged for coupons bought a meal. Now, of course, you can wet your whistle with it every day. As the farm lad, I get the hardest work to do. Your day begins at 4. The cattle eat and shit, and then for a change, they shit and eat. Then you do battle in the fields with hay and beet. You flush out potatoes, ambush cabbages, machine gun carrots. My first response to being underfed, turnips and boiled swede for breakfast and for tea, boiled swede and turnips. My first response is to get much stronger than I've ever been and to develop the muscles of a Hercules. But the daily grind soon gnaws me to the bone. I see the farm girl feeding chickens, milking cows. That's hard work too, I think, but still. I skive off when I can.
which isn't often. Sometimes I black out, but know my days here are numbered. Then the farmer leads the talk around to women. Tells me the farm girl's good for work but nothing else. She's too stuck up to let him stick it up her. Between ourselves, I tell him, I know a rag who's able and willing and knows a thing or two. She'll do anything for a sack full of grain. Night comes. So does the farmer, emptying his sack and filling mine with chicken feed, not like he promised, first-class wheat. But even that sack of chicken feed helped me get through the darkest days. Ground in the coffee mill first thing, made a bowl of soup to last all day. And now I'm slurping it again in my old flat. Safe from bombs, but not from thieves. Now that the Ems lands in the west, the farmers get cheap labour from the east. They come in their droves, and gladly. I think you'd enjoy it if you found a long white cigarette to smoke. No need to pick up odd butts from the ground. Oh, Johnny G.I., let me share your fag. Please, Johnny G.I., give us a drag. Sometimes, if I close my eyes, I can see a village somewhere in the marches of Brandenburg, now in the Russian zone, a cemetery before me, and by a grave, a prince. He kneels and kisses the earth, which opens wide. Snow White climbs out, shaking earth off and unravelling the roots entwined around her. Tenderly, the prince caresses her, and she becomes as white as snow, as red as blood, as black as ebony. Then off they go to his modcon flat, with fridge and running hot and cold. Away he carries her to the Caucasus for their honeymoon. And so Max Gericka can rest in peace in that chilly earth, knowing Snow White, alias Ella, is now in the Red East. Her conscience never blackened.
For 3 whole years, I nailed together vegetable trays at Paulé Packaging. 100 crates a day. But when Paulé goes bust, a man from Hanover buys up the lot and starts demolishing the workshop and the storerooms. You won't get on unless you can be drastic. This Herr Karl Friedrich Castor undertakes to take me on. I start producing plastic and elastic. I pull this little handle at the front, and out from the back, 1,000 plastic punnets pop. You'll be stuck here forever and a day, I tell myself. Just and you could do no other. In front of you the handle and behind the punnets. Do I turn a handle or does it turn me? Am I the handle? Is the handle me? At night I dream I'm God Almighty, creating whole universes out of plastic. And over everything Castor stands, majestic, cash
cashing in on plastic and elastic. But even God creates for 6 days only, and on the 7th takes a breather and thinks up something far less energetic. There is all that plastic and elastic, and there is Herr Karl Friedrich Castor, static. So, God knocks back a big swig from his bottle and, half pissed, comes up with an antidote. Next Saturday, Karl Friedrich Castor, who's myopic, sees this attractive woman in his local. She catches his eye because he catches hers. He sends her over a glass of Zect and thinks, fantastic. But before Karl Friedrich Castor gets romantic, I spent 3 weeks, which nearly drives me frantic, turning out his plastic and elastic. And Saturday night comes round again. More people die of beer than did of bombs. And Castor meets a woman in his local. Over Zect and Salmon, Schnapps and Sauerbraten, they get acquainted. Castor's horny for her and lures the little lady to his love nest. They say 4 eyes see more than 2. I'm the one with 4. Castor's blind. Oh, love divine is heaven's sweetest gift. With heavenly guidance, Castor changes tactic because he knows that plastic and elastic, if made by gentle women's hands, for much less pay, come cheaper. So, by the time we get to May, Karl Friedrich's been miraculously economic. And all that work that used to drive me frantic, turning out his plastic and elastic, has all been whisked away. Prost. The sun is out, the sky is blue. Dear lady, let me walk with you. Plastic. The factory would gladly take on Turks, but no more workers were allowed to immigrate. So, heaven sends Castor inspiration. He smuggles Turkish blokes in by disguising them as women here to visit their beloved husbands. So far, so good. But the competition soon gets wind of it. The game is up and gaff is blown, the whole caboodle's up in smoke. Karl Friedrich Castor's now cast as the villain, and at his trial he wants a little lady as a witness. But so far, heaven hasn't sent a sign. The Bible tells of 7 fat years consumed by 7 that were lean. I eat my iron rations up in 7 weeks. Hallelujah. Matchgarica is on the streets again, though now they're full of cars and made of asphalt. 5 years to go until I get his pension. Hope springs eternal. Nagel and Sons require crane operator, 2,000 marks a month. He reads the ad, tips up. They're bound to know your face, he tells himself. But Nagel and his sons are Uncle Sam's. There's life in the old dog yet. Even old iron can lose its rust. Go on, roast your face under a sun ray lamp and work your chisty spanner 150 times. Don't worry, life begins at 66. There's loads of vitamins in parsley. You're never too old to learn new tricks, so don't become a wallflower at the party. Oh yeah, dead right, not half, I'll say. Fuck Christmas! All it does is cost you money and make you cry your little eyes out. A few years back, I heard about this commie who did away with Christmas altogether. On Christmas Eve, he read Karl Marx out loud. Yet that same night, slunk into a wood and cut a tree down with his axe.
Put your feet up. Have a beer. You've earned a rest, Max. The hard life ends here. There's telly to be watched. No need to pay. You start at 10 and go on goggling all day. Theft, fraud and murder. Once in a while, all pensioners enjoy a juicy trial.
Defendant, is your name Loikoff? Yes, my name is Loikoff. I'm from Bremen in Ostfriesland. But it says here your name is Calmo, nationality French. Oh, my name is Loikoff. Our records show you're also known as Lupov, Lintov and Lukovsky. Oh, my name is Loikoff. Your accent isn't Ostfriesish. More like French than anything. I can't speak a word of French. Well then, are you mentally disturbed? No, I'm not mentally disturbed. You've been caught shoplifting. We're not going to chop your head off for it, but tell us who you are. My name is Loikoff.
If you haven't got a job, make one. Scatter a box of matches, pick 'em up. For most of his life, a soldier stands. You blink and get a fist between your eyes, with loaded gun and idle hands. Napoleon was a woman in disguise. Official sources in the DDR believe he acts a bombing with Colorado Beetles. A painter with only one ear. Napoleon, Adam or Eve. Max Garicka, buried in foreign earth. Special pickled pork for all of us. What you got is what you're worth. A dacha somewhere in the Caucasus. The war is over now, but at a cost. While Fred performs a tap dance on the bog, Columbus picks up the ball that Himmler's lost. Empty bottles give the game away, and ears have walls, so careful what you say. Whether it's Zara Leander or the fucking Führer, another night of rubbish on the telly.
The mirror makes me puke. Death creeping up in slippers. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all? Max Karika, you are the fairest in this place. But over the hills and far away, where the 7 dwarfs toil all day, Snow White is 1,000 times fairer.